Good morning and welcome to Memphis Monday 324. About 2 or 3 years ago I built a large sewing table stand for my brother's wife, but now it has it goes up and down and this and that. But anyway, she has now bought a new sewing machine that won't go down in the on the little ramp that it's supposed to. And I'm at my brother's house right now, and today we're going to modify the sewing table so that it fits the new sewing machine. So let's knock off the chit chat and get to work. Well, here's a problem. I made this table here. Well, let's tell you what. Let's take the camera and do a tour of the sewing station first before we talk about this. The little tour of the sewing table I built. It's got these fold down leaves here with these slide out things. And it's got a series of drawers here. And underneath it has we can move this sewing machine here. It's got this contraption here that goes up and down, and so you can lower the sewing machine. And under here, if you look under here, you can see the mechanism. It's a German-made thing we found on the internet. And over here we have another fold down deal with some larger drawers, or there's a drawer on the bottom and then a drawer on the bottom and then a cabinet up here at the top. Okay, the problem is this thing right here is a mechanism that you can lower or raise the sewing machine, and it goes down, and you can actually push it all the way down and completely hide the sewing machine. And then we have a little top that'll fit in here. Well, the problem is the new sewing machine right here, this new fancy sewing machine won't fit down through that hole. So we need to make this hole bigger.
Well, we came up with a plan, me and my brother, and the plan is we're going to use a jigsaw, and since the sewing machine is wider at the back than it is in the front, we don't think we're going to have to do much to the trim here. We'd like to take the least amount of trim off to solve the problem. So we feel like we can go in about here and cut this trim, just the ledge around here, and that might give us enough. Our one problem we have is we have nails. This trim has been nailed and glued, and we feel like we can come in with a jigsaw with a metal cutting blade on it and just go right around this edge, and that probably will give us enough to get the sewing machine down through the hole. So we're going to try that, and we'll be back in a little bit with the results.
Cut that back ridge off. I'm having some problems with my saw, it's wanting to tilt too much. It's running. Okay, we got the we trimmed this out. It looks like it's going to go down. It really only needs to go down this far. Our problem now is we've got this plexiglass insert, and since it's a new sewing machine, it doesn't fit around the small foot down here. So we need to buy a new piece of plexiglass and make a new cutout. Now what we have here is we're basically going to cut out the glass before we do the insert part. So we're just going to cut here and cut across here, and that'll give us our blank. I don't think my brother realized how boring making these videos is. I got this thing cut to size now. Now we need to cut the opening for the foot of the sewing machine. So it'll be, we got to cut out a pattern similar to this. Well, we ran into a problem. We need to think, because this old pattern here had this large edge right across here, you know, for support. But this new foot comes all the way to the edge of the opening. So our plexiglass idea is not going to work, because we can't cut that notch out. We're going to have to cut a bigger hole here for this plexiglass so it'll have an edge for the plexiglass to sit on. What we're going to do is we're going to sleep on it, because we're not thinking this thing through. Well, here's the plan. We're going to put a piece of plexiglass in there and trace out the foot, and then we're going to take the plexiglass and we're going to bend it into a shape that'll fit down in that slot. This is just a sample. This is the old one here, and we just tried that plan. Let me take the sewing machine out and put this down there, and I'll show you how it's going to work. So the theory is then this goes down in here like that, and these two sides sit on the ledge here, and then the foot goes into that slot right there. Here's a close-up of how the scheme's supposed to work. So what I got to do now is take this piece of plexiglass here and put it in the slot and trace out the foot for the new machine. I'll tell you the truth, I've never done this before. I don't know if it's going to work. And so I think I'm going to just count on this being a practice right here. So you can just barely see this line here. The black line, that's where I'm going to cut out the foot. And then this big piece of plexiglass will be bent right here at the corner. Okay, I'm cutting this Lexon with jigsaw with a metal cutting blade. I've got it clamped down with clamps, not so much to keep it from moving, but to keep it from bouncing up and down. Whenever you're using a jigsaw, you got to keep whatever you're doing from bouncing up and down, because it'll neutralize the cutting effect of the blade. Got the piece cut out. Now what we have to do is we're going to clamp it down in this board, and then we'll use a heat gun. We'll use this heat gun to heat the plastic and bend this stuff and bend it into shape. And if we don't get it too hot and set it on fire, it should work. Okay, we're going to use a heat gun to heat this up, but if you don't have a heat gun, you can use propane to do it, or you can even use a couple of hair dryers to do it. We've actually practiced doing it using hair dryer. Thousand degrees. Okay. What that can do. Okay, we got it all bent. You saw us bending it, and let's try it on the machine. We've already tried it. And this is how it works. It goes down in there like that. Now the foot of the machine is now level with the table. Well, what we're doing now is sanding up where we cut the trim back. Well, I got it all sanded up. You can see the light places here. That all needs to be stained. Now, when I built this table originally, I used natural stain, a color called natural. I don't know how natural it is, but I'm going to put that same stuff back on there. Make it look like it was original. Okay, our job is complete. We, for Memphis Monday 224, we shortened the trim so that the machine will fit in there. We restained it. We built this new plexiglass spacer so that the face of the machine will be flush with the top of the table. And overall, I'm pretty satisfied. Well, that does it for another Memphis Monday 224. Today we made some provisions for a sewing table we built about 2 years ago, but we've changed sewing machines, and the new one wouldn't fit in there, so we had to make the hole bigger. Had to make a new spacer, and we had put together some new techniques. We actually made a part. We made the spacer out of plexiglass and bended it, heated it up and bent it. So that was pretty neat. Well, anyway, like and favorite and share and all the stuff you do on the internet. Most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.